everything, guys. They bake it into everything. Anyways, let's start the show. Someone said Blue is the new Oprah. Oh, that's very specific language. I will tell you guys this if you haven't already. Please check out the members only section because we actually do have the story time about the time that I accidentally made Oprah cry. That story time was so much fun to do. Members, do not worry. I will be conceiving of the next members only live that we'll be doing. I feel like the members got fed a lot this month, so I'm allowing myself to rest. But yeah, this live is going to be extra long because after today, you're not going to hear from me until Monday. At the very least, Mother is tired. I'm exhausted. And one of the reasons why I'm exhausted is I made the mistake of making a stop in Atlanta on the way back to LA. Let's talk about it. The way the show works is the first 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes is me catching up with my family, and then we get into hot topics. Atlanta, what the fuck? Y'all know that I've never had the best of luck in Atlanta, and I was like, I haven't been to Atlanta in like a decade. Let me give Atlanta another chance. So I actually went to Atlanta to get my locks taken out because the person who does my locks is also the same person who does Meg Thee Stallion's locks, Lizzo's locks, Zoe Kravitz's locks. He is not inexpensive. He's a tourist, okay? He gets his paper. He not cheap, and he only comes to LA every other month. I just had this urge to take my locks out and get all the energy from the last 4 months that I've had locks in out of my body. Like, hair is so spiritual, and I'm a very spiritual girly. So I was like, baby, I can't wait for you to come back to LA. I'm going to stop by Atlanta real quick, get these locks taken out, and take my ass right back to LA on the way back from the East Coast. So this was supposed to be an 18-hour trip. I was supposed to land in Atlanta, take me a nap, wake up the next morning, get my locks taken out by the maestro of locks, and then take my ass right back to LA. That was the plan. I had no idea. I had no idea that I had unintentionally flown right into the belly of the beast. For those of you who don't know, because I didn't fucking know, apparently TSA is having some kind of budget cut shutdown situation where none of the TSA employees are getting paid. And therefore, they're not coming to work or they're quitting on the job. So imagine my shock and awe when I go to Atlanta, having a funky key with my boy. We watching TV shows and catching up and talking about celebrity gossip and shit. Because, you know, whenever you get your hair done by somebody who does celebrity hair, you spread notes. It's an industry thing. So we're having a little industry kiki or whatever. I go to this spot, amazing seafood spot, maybe one of the best seafood spots I've ever been in my life. So Atlanta, that's one strike in your favor. And have the most sexually good charbroiled oysters I've ever had in my life. Better than New Orleans. I know. Better than New Orleans. Literally filmed the meal because it was so orgasmic. I was like, baby, I got to shout you out. The waiter took a picture and everything with me. I was like, oh my God, Atlanta's being so good to me. Do I owe Atlanta an apology? All those horrible Atlanta trips that I've had in the past, maybe it's a new day. I'm drunk out of my mind. For those of you who were following me on Threads, you saw that I was a little tipsy. I was happy and tipsy leaving that happy hour. Leave happy hour, go to my hotel. Forgot that the South is inexpensive. So I ordered a hotel room for a couple $100 that ended up being a 800 square foot suite. My first apartment when I moved to LA was 540 square feet. Okay. So I accidentally booked a big old suite and was like, I don't need this much space for an 18-hour trip. Ha, God had a plan. I was going to be there longer than 18 hours. Get tipsy. Take my ass to the hotel to grab my bag and have exactly enough time to get to the airport and slide into first class as they feed me cocktails and take my ass back to LA. That was the plan. It was going to be a luxurious detour. As I'm tipsy and on the toilet peeing, like, baby, you need to sober up because they're not going to let you on the plane like this. You're smiling too hard, right? Because I'm not a messy drunk. I'm a smiley tipsy. I'm not even drunk. I was about 2 drinks in. It don't take much. I'm not an alcohol consumer. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to sober up because I'm smiling like a dummy. I look at my phone. It says delayed by 2 hours. Yes, guys, the charbroiled oysters that I had in Atlanta were better than New Orleans. It's this one spot. It's not all of Atlanta. It's this one spot. We'll talk about that some other time. So I'm like, oh, we up because these 2 hours I can sober up. This is amazing. I got 2 extra hours to sober up. I made a little video on my stories, me giggling in bed like, hey, y'all, I'm in this suite overlooking the airport because I was only about 11 minutes away from the airport. I'm in this suite that's literally overlooking the International Atlanta Airport. And yeah, I'm up. I had a great day in Atlanta. I might owe you an apology. I have an extra 2 hours to take me a little nap. I'm going to get up and go home. The 2 hours go by. I check out of my hotel. Mind you, Something had told me. Something had told me the night before I flew to Atlanta, add an extra day, Blue. Something said, add an extra day. I'm at the part of my spiritual journey when my spirit guides tell me to do shit, I don't ask no questions. I don't wonder. I don't ponder. I just listen. I'm obedient as hell. I'm so obedient. So I had already booked the hotel for an extra day. I was annoyed because the rate that I got for Sunday was half of the rate for Monday. So I'm like, Sky Daddy, God, Jesus, Yahweh, Buddha, whoever's up there, why I gotta pay double for an extra night though? But then I was like, no, Blue, just be obedient. So I'm thinking, well, it's beautiful that I've paid an extra night because instead of having to check out at like noon, I can leave at like 8:30 when my flight is delayed to leave or whatever. So I leave at night, go to the airport, the SUV comes up, I'm waving goodbye to everybody in a good little mood, whatever, just still smiling, but now I look more sober. And I get to the airport and our flight gets canceled. So not canceled, it gets delayed 5 more times. I'm like, why is the flight delayed 5 times? This is egregious. Oh, I'm not gonna get home until like 2 o'clock in the morning. Darn, right? Because I knew I had a St. Patrick's Day happy hour that I was gonna be doing the next day. By the way, shout out to all 125 of you who showed up to our St. Patrick's Day happy hour. That shit was so much fun. We're doing one more for Cinco de Mayo for tourist season. More on that later. And by the way, like the live. We're catching up, but like the live before we get to the hot topics. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we're gonna be in the last flight. I'm gonna get into LA the wee hours of the morning. I'm gonna have to maybe, just take me a hard nap before I have my client calls and then do my happy hour. We get on the plane. I'm sitting in my little seat. I think I was in seat 4B. I'm sitting in seat 4B, got my little cocktail, get my pillow fluffed up. I'm chilling. I'm trying to figure out what movie to watch. And I realized after watching some TV show, we've been here for 45 minutes. There must be just a blockage on the tarmac because everybody's, trying to get out of here. No problem. Suddenly, the pilot is red-faced and walks out. The pilot looks sheepish. You know when you read a novel and they say, Igor looks sheepishly at her. Igor was looking sheepishly at us. And I said, now what the hell? Why the pilot look like he stole somebody's petty cash? What's going on? The pilot gets on the mic. Let me grab my little fan. And says, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering why we're sitting here. And I'm embarrassed to say this. First of all, the minute the pilot says he's embarrassed, I'm already concerned. What you mean you embarrassed? You the one flying the fucking plane. Now my immigrant trauma has me sitting up. Fuck the drink and the pillow. Why you embarrassed, Igor? And he's like, so the reason we're here is not because we're having technical difficulties or because the plane is having issues. So don't worry about that. I said, okay, I can unclench my booty cheeks. I relaxed. He said, the issue is a member of our crew just is not coming to work. Mind you, I'm in 4B. I think Tank, the singer Tank, is like 1 or 2 seats behind me. We're all in the same cabin, right? I said, now what happened? He said, yeah, so we're trying to convince him to come to work. So just stand by. And technically there are laws that after a certain amount of time, we can't be here any longer because our shifts are over because it's no longer safe for us to fly. So hopefully he comes to work before I said, now hold on. Ha! No, this is ghetto. I said, Ooh, bon Dieu, this ghetto. I would rather you say the plane had an issue because that's regular. What you mean the nigga don't want to come to work and you hoping that he gonna come to work? Atlanta, you're never beating the allegations. Atlanta, I tried to give you, I feel like, you know how Mercury retrograde, you and your ex try to make it work and he reminds you why he ain't shit? That's how I feel about Atlanta. Atlanta, this was your opportunity to woo me back. No, baby, it was not Soul Plane. It was Delta. That ticket cost $2,000. It was not Soul Plane, baby. I was upset. So I said, I looked at the white man next to me like, did he just say that the man don't want to come to me? He's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm like, no, there's no way. Cognitive dissonance, there's no way. We wait 30 more minutes because I'm like, there's no way that a nigga in Atlanta didn't come to work and that's why I'm not going home tonight. That's not what is happening right now. Guess what Igor had to say 45 minutes later? Hey guys, well, I feel like we all know what I'm about to say. Igor, come on, man. What you mean? Yeah, he's not coming in. So I hate to say this, but the flight is canceled. Well, there are no more Delta flights for the rest of this calendar day. You're going to have to get off the plane. And then Igor scurried back into the cabin. He scurried back into the pilot little thing and closed the door behind him because I felt like he knew he was in Atlanta and he might get jumped. Come outside, Igor. We're not going to jump you. Here comes Tank with a straight face walking past me. I said, baby, there's no way that I'm getting off this plane because a nigga just didn't come to work. There's no way. There's no way. I get off the plane. I'm so mad. I forget my coat. Because here's the thing. When you're in the first class or Delta One cabin and you have a coat on, they take it for you. They hang it up. It's very concierge. I'm so mad I storm off. And then I realized, bitch, it's freezing as hell. Like, you know, the minute I walked out into the gate, my nipples got cold because it was freezing. I said, oh, shit, I need my coat. I turn to get my coat. A black woman stands in front of me like a blockade. She's like, where you think you going? I said, oh, my coat's in first. Because here's the thing. At Delta, once you hit platinum status, they're very nice to you. So I'm assuming everybody's on my side. I forgot I was in Atlanta. So she's like, where you think you going? I said, oh, that's it's going to sound very bourgeois. I was like, that's a very coach way to approach me. Baby, I paid for you to be nice to me. I paid extra for you to talk to me nice. What's going on? My full Taurus is coming out right now, guys. My full Taurus. Tauruses, you know how Tauruses are. We are goons, but we are bougie goons, okay? We are daffodils. We like to be pampered. I paid extra for y'all to feed me grapes and pamper me. Igor done scurried into the fucking pilot's area. The nigga who's supposed to be coming to work didn't show up, and now you talking to me with bass in your voice. What in the fuck? It's giving spirit. It's not giving a Delta Sky priority. No, it's not giving what I paid for. So now I'm shocked because I'm realizing you just a bitch off the street to this lady. I said, ma'am, my coat's inside, so I just want to get my coat. She's like, nah, you have to wait for the entire plane to deboard before I inform them to go find your coat. I said, no, they don't have to find it. They took it from me because I'm in first class. She's like I said, you're going to have to wait for the entire plane to deboard. You guys, I was in seat 4B, which means I got off the plane within 45 seconds of the announcement. I had to wait for every person, including whoever was sitting in 56F with a limp, to get off that plane while I'm sitting there with G-cup breasts and poking out cold nipples. It was obscene. My titty's too big for all this. Can I please get my jacket? As I'm waiting for my jacket, y'all might not know this, but I had a really bad car accident a couple of years ago. I'm in the middle of a court case. I'm actually doing my deposition next month, finally, to get my fucking money. And because of my really bad car accident, there's a certain level of walking with a bag that I cannot do until my back seizes up. Because, you know, I have lasting pain from the back accident. So my back was seizing up at this point, and they had to give me a wheelchair because I'm cold, right? I'm poking everybody in the face with my fucking nipples. This bitch won't let me get my coat. Igor is still fucking hiding somewhere in the plane. And until Igor and his cronies get off, I can't get my coat. So they had to call me a wheelchair because it was clear that I was seizing up. I'm sitting there in the wheelchair. The man who comes to put me in the wheelchair says, yeah, I understand why that nigga quit. I'm quitting next. I'm moving to Connecticut. Fuck this shit. I said, what? He said, I'm quitting next. I said, sir, can you at least get me to my next gate before you quit? At this point, I want to cry. I'm laughing out of trauma, okay? At this point, I want to cry. Because what you mean, you came here because my back is seizing up and you about to quit. Can you at least push me? Can I get my coat? At this point, I look at the lady. I said, ma'am, look at these. I'm just pointing to my titties. Ma'am, I'm clearly very cold. Help me. Please, can I just get my coat? She looks away. Excuse you? I say, wow, where is your humanity? You have no compassion. This is bad enough. You have no compassion. When I get upset, I sound like Aunt Viv. I don't be swearing and stuff because I'm from New England. When I'm upset, I sound like just an angry Diane Carroll. You have no compassion. This champagne is burnt, right? Like I was so angry. Like how dare you, right? Like at this point, full white woman is coming out. I'm from New England, my nigga. I ain't got no street credit. My full New England white bitch came out of me. And the woman just looks away. I was like, all right, so she's a bitch. Got it. Mind you, this is a black woman because it's a land. Everybody black. Okay? Everybody black. So now I'm slumped over in a wheelchair, covering my titties, waiting for Igor and the other flight attendants to come out so I can finally get my stuff. Do you know when Igor finally comes out, there's a flight attendant right behind her sorry, right behind him. And she's holding my jacket. And she's like, oh my God, did we lose her? Where is she? We've been looking for her all over the plane. I said, it's me. It's me. Can I have my coat? She gives me my coat. I get wheeled to the area where we have to get new tickets. The entire time this man is wheeling me, he is talking about how excited he is to quit his job while he's still on his job. So now I'm in this coat just rocking back and forth like, bruh, I'm never fucking coming back to Atlanta. I am never, unless y'all write me a big old check, I'm never going back to fucking Atlanta. If you see me in Atlanta, somebody cut me a check or somebody else paid for it. Okay? So I'm just rocking back and forth like, wow, this is not the luxurious detour I was expecting. I should have just kept my fucking locks in. Fuck me. I wanted to have natural. I could have just stayed my ass in LA. We get to the front gate. There's a sister at the front. And she says, so check it. You are first class nonstop. We're now going to have to do you first class with a stop in Nashville. I said, but I paid not to stop. I paid extra to not stop. I paid extra so the plane would come, feed me grapes, and then drop me off. Like I paid for it. She said, baby, do you want to go home or not? I said, oop, fair. I do want to go home. I'm being held hostage in Atlanta. I was waiting for Donald Glover and Lakeith Stanford to come riding on a fucking golf cart right past me because I felt like I was in a really bad fever dream episode of Atlanta. Like FX had a special and nobody told me. So I said, bitch, you right. Fuck me in my nonstop. First class with a stop in Nashville. Nigga, I'll get me some ribs. Let's do it. I said, when is it? She said, tomorrow. I said, what you mean tomorrow? But it's today. She said, baby, it's tomorrow. I said, okay, but where am I going to sleep? Y'all have to give me a voucher for a hotel. She said, baby, the closest hotel is 23 miles away because every flight tonight has been canceled. Nobody came to work. You lucky I'm even here to rebook you. Here comes a nigga who wants to quit. Yeah, girl, it's Atlanta. We don't give a fuck. I said, excuse me, sir. I'm not talking to you. I already know you want to quit your job. Can you? I get it. It's Atlanta. You don't give a fuck. And then I'm like, bitch, you paid double price for a suite until tomorrow afternoon. Remember when your spirit guides told you to eat it and just pay the extra fee? You checked out at 8:30 at night. Your reservation's not over till tomorrow. I said, yes, bitch, I have a reservation at a hotel only 1 mile away. Fuck 23 miles, bitch. Got it. So I called the hotel and said, they canceled my flight. I still have a room. It's a suite. Can I have it back? She says, well, we have to make sure nobody checked in. I said, bitch, ain't nobody checking into this expensive ass fucking suite. Give me my fucking room. I shit you not. She says, you right. You could come back. Atlanta, are you okay? What? Hold on. Let me drink my coconut water. Sorry. She said, you right. You could come back. I said, what if I hadn't pushed? Bitch, would you have taken my suite? So as I'm waiting for them to figure out how to book me to Nashville, I go on JetBlue because there's the guy that was sitting next to me said, hey, yo, if they fuck up on Delta, JetBlue might have some flights. I see a flight of JetBlue, and JetBlue is significantly less expensive than Delta, right? So I'm like, oh, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. Maybe I'll just get my flight reimbursed for this. JetBlue says there's a flight leaving at 6 a.m. tomorrow, nonstop. Good seats. There's one caveat. Because it's last minute, the flight is $2,500 one way. Atlanta is only a 4-hour flight from LA. You mean the price that I would pay on Delta, which is actually a nice air, on Delta with a bed? I'm paying for only a 4-hour flight from Atlanta to LA. Are you mad? I go to click out, the page starts buffering because Mercury fucking retrograde. The page starts buffering as I'm trying to X out because I don't want no parts of this $2,500 flight. When the page X's out, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to wait for Nashville until I get a ping on my phone. It's a confirmation from JetBlue saying you are booked for to go home tomorrow. Thank you for the $2,500 plane ticket, you dumb bitch. That's not what it said, but it's what it felt like. JetBlue somehow buffered and took my credit card on file and booked me on a flight that I didn't agree to. At this point, get my mom. Fuck all of y'all. I will fly the plane myself. Get Igor out of here. I will fly the plane myself. So I go to cancel. It says you can't cancel within 24 hours. See y'all on the plane, bitch. That's what I heard. What you mean I can't cancel? I just booked the 2 minutes. I spent 3 hours on hold with JetBlue, playing the girl from Ipanema while I'm arguing with the attendant that, bitch, I don't want to go to Nashville. Bitch, I knew I had to go to Nashville. So I said, okay, you know what? I have a hotel waiting for me. Unlike these people who are now going to have to sleep in the airport and wake up in the morning smelling like homeless sex, I actually have a suite pretty close. Let me just be happy for my blessings and my spirit guides. I catch an Uber back to my hotel. And even though the Uber is only an 11-minute ride, baby, let me tell you how much my wallet hurts. It was $67 for an 11-minute ride from the airport back to my hotel. I said, wow. At this point, my credit card is now pinging. Hey, bitch, you good? Just pinging, because I don't live like this. I get back to the hotel and realize for the first time, I'm starving because I haven't eaten since drunk happy hour. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. The lady had a Mars bar, some fucking Funyuns, and some Powerade. I said, I guess this is my dinner. I had ordered the short ribs on my flight, but I had Funyuns instead. Okay? Funyuns and Powerade, just sodium and blue dye number 2. So I walk back to my suite and I look at all the stuff that I left strewn around my room like, oh, innocent times. It was so innocent when I left here a couple hours ago, huh? Just tipsy and happy and excited to go home. I crawl into bed and wake up scared at exactly 6 o'clock. Rush on to put my clothes back on, get in the shuttle this time because I'm not taking another fucking Uber. Fuck y'all. Get in the shuttle, get to the airport. And when I get to the airport, I'm sitting at my gate. I was like, oh, this was actually fairly simple. Shout out to everybody who's watching in here and showing me love because my God, today. Someone said, sorry, Mercury and her microbase put you through it. Girl. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be easy. And a voice says to me, Blue, look at your flight itinerary. My flight itinerary says landing in Nashville, Tennessee at 9 a.m. Next flight, swipe. Boarding for LAX at 8:50. Now, hold on, bitch. What you mean I'm landing at 9 a.m., but my flight starts to board at 8:50? That means I'm guaranteed to lose my flight. So I walk up to the lady and I say, ma'am, maybe I don't understand how this works because I don't fly with layovers. I'm a nonstop bitch. I've only flown nonstop flights for the last 10 years. I don't even know how this shit works. Unless I'm going to like Jamaica. No, even Jamaica. Yeah, Jamaica when I got my back cracked and put to the mattress. That was the only time I had a layover in Atlanta. And Lisa Stell was there to keep me company, right? So this is my first time doing a layover situation unsupervised. So I go to the lady and say, hey, maybe I'm just misunderstanding this. It says here that I land at 9, but my plane starts to board at 8:50. Are the gates next to each other? Are they kissing like two Barbie dolls? What you mean? How we do this? It's a Haitian woman. She said, I don't know. I said, nah, ma'am, sis, stop fucking playing with me. What you mean you don't know? She said, I don't know. I said, ma'am, I'm asking you a reasonable question. Why did y'all book me on a flight that lands at 9 when the next one boards at 8:50? No, these are in the times of the place that you're in. It's not an hour behind. It's in the time of the place that it lands. So I said, can you explain to me how that works? Where do I get those 10 minutes back? Like, how does that work? She said, oh, I don't know, but you're right. I said, Naomi, bitch, I need you to do your job. Okay? I almost started speaking in Creole to be like, listen, I'm one of you. Stop playing with me. Right? I am a New England Haitian. Southern Haitians are different. They a little bit more, okay? They're a little more razzle dazzle. I don't want to be on the no-fly list for beating up old lady. I already felt that maybe I need to calm down. So I said, okay. Let me breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. Where do I get those 10 minutes back? At this point, she's staring at me, staring at her, staring at me. It looked like that Diddy meme of when you just stare at each other. The bitch starts to smirk. I don't know. I don't know. I said, oh. Now I start laughing like the Joker because I can feel my spirit leaving my body. Guess what saved me? The only thing that saved me. The fucking Blue Crew. The man who was sitting next to her, the gate attendant next to her, looked at me and said, Blue? I said, yes. He said, come here. I said, okay. Guys, I am not a celebrity. I am only a public figure on social media, which doesn't take much. Everybody can be a public figure on social media these days. But I have never been more relieved to be recognized in my fucking life. He said, Blue? I said, yes. Like, I feel like, you know that little meme of the little baby in the pajamas was going like this? Yes. He said, Blue, come over here. I said, okay. I didn't even ask the nigga how he know my name. I don't give a fuck. God sent you, okay? I said, what? He said, there's a flight leaving direct from Atlanta to LA at 10 a.m. that I could put you on. I said, oh, God bless you. Blue Crew, we up. God bless you. If he sees this, I love you, okay? I would kiss you in the mouth, but I think you might have been gay. It's okay. So, yes, Blue Crew. You motherfuckers saved me, okay? I said, so, okay, 10 a.m. Mind you, at this point, it's about 7:25. He said, it's a 10 a.m. flight, direct. I could put you on it, and, you know, you could go straight to LA nonstop. I said, yes, brother, I love you. Thank you. He said, there's only one thing. I said, what? He said, I know how you are. First of all, sir, don't do that. What you mean you know how I am? He said, it's Coach Blue. I said, now what happened? I said, but I paid for first class nonstop. Then y'all put me on first class with a stop. Now you're putting me on coach? He said, yeah, it's in coach. I said, well, I said, you want me to sit in coach even though I paid for another experience? This is not even about being bougie. This is about fiscal responsibility. I paid for a whole different experience. And y'all keep watering it down. He said, so, yeah, it's coach. That's the only thing. I said, well, check it. Can you put me in the aisle so I can stop, drop, and roll off the plane the minute we land? Because I don't like where this is going. He starts laughing. He's like, yeah, that works. And he could see that I'm devastated. He said, you know what, Blue? There is one more flight that's actually boarding in 30 minutes direct to LA, but I'd have to put you on standby. I said, now, hold on. I went from first class nonstop to first class with a stop to coach nonstop to now coach standby. At this point, do y'all want me to serve the coffee? Repeat that said. At this point, I am now a Delta employee. I'm the captain now. What do you mean? Where's this going? Standby. He said, yeah, that's all we got. My back seized up again. They had to call a wheelchair. I think it was the stress. I think my back seizes up whenever I'm stressed. They had to call another wheelchair attendant. I was happy anybody showed up because the last nigga quit after he rolled me over to the cart. So the wheelchair attendant comes because this is Atlanta. So every gate change requires you to get on a fucking train. It's one of the biggest airports in the world. So I'm on the thing going like this, like I'm about to be standby on coach. I'm about to be standby on coach. Bitch, we work so hard to never have to do this again. Wow, Atlanta. Atlanta, huh? At fucking Atlanta, huh? ATL, shorty. You will never catch me like this again. We get to the gate. And at this part, I'm hearing we fall down, but we get up. Mind you, I'm in a wheelchair, so it's deeply ironic. I'm just like, God, if you are trying to teach me something, you know, let me know what it is so we ain't got to do this again. As I'm talking to Sky Daddy, a woman who I swear to God is anointed. Oh, sorry, something is wet in my eye. Ooh. Ooh, that's a little. I hate when something falls in my eye. A woman with the spirit of Yolanda Adams, and I'm not joking. Because the minute she started talking to me, I was like, this bitch is anointed. She's anointed. She looks over at me and she says, baby, are you okay? I said, yeah, I had a direct flight on Delta One, and then y'all put me with a stop on first class, and then you put me on coach nonstop, and now I'm coach standby. And yeah, I don't live like this. As she looks at me and she says, baby, I can tell you're about to cry. Don't worry, we got you. And that's what made me almost start crying. Because at this point, fuck me, Atlanta, huh? Fuck 50, right? Atlanta doesn't fuck with me. I get it. Somebody said, I think the problem is you keep calling him Sky Daddy. No, me and God crack jokes. The God that I serve understands my sense of humor. The God that I serve understands my humor. So, I mean, think about it, right? He said Yolanda Adams. And so she says, don't worry, we got you. Now, her and the man are tussling because they're arguing because he says, this ticket says coach, which you mean she's in first class. She's like, no, I looked at it. If you go back to the original ticket from about 8 tickets ago, she actually was first class. We did this to her. I was like, yeah, bitch, tell her. You know that meme about the lady in the bonnet and the man standing up for her? And she's like, yeah, tell him again. So I'm like, yeah, Yolanda Adams, tell this motherfucker who I am. She don't really know who the fuck I am, okay? So Yolanda Adams says to me, all right, we got you, baby, don't worry. And tells the man to wheel me to the front of the line. At this point, my back is so tight. I am worried I'm going to fall out the wheelchair. Like the stress is all in my body. When they wheel me to the front, I don't have it in me to ask what seat am I in. I've made peace with being in seat 56F and having to stop, drop, and roll off the fucking plane. I surrender. I surrender all, okay? Every Christian bone in my body came back. For those who don't know, I'm Buddhist, but I was raised Christian. Every Christian bone in my body came back. I surrender. I'm about to start singing fucking Negro spirituals, right? Wade in the water in this bitch. I feel like the after, like the backwash of Harriet Tubman. I've been through all the things. If I had a gun, I would have shot y'all though, right? So when they pull me to the front, because I'm on standby, the machine has to regurgitate your ticket. When the thing goes, and my ticket goes out, and the lady hands it to me, she says, you want your ticket? I said, not really. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. And she just looks at me and smiles and says, here's your ticket, baby. Have a good flight. I look at the ticket. It says 1D. Yolanda fucking Adams put me on a Delta 1 seat at the very front of the plane. A seat that I suspect they were trying to save for the crew. Because guess what? Plot twist. I didn't mention this part. Right before they wheeled me to the front, guess who I saw in the standby line to get on the plane? Igor and the entire flight crew from my flight the night before. Igor and them were on my direct flight to LA the next morning. And she gave me one of their tickets. I hope she gave me his ticket. Fuck you, Igor. Okay, I hope she gave me his ticket. And so I laid down and the lady gave me my orange juice. At this point, my first thought was, I wonder how Tank got home. Did he just charter a private jet because he's kind of rich? Like, I don't feel like he went through everything that I went through, right? And then I decide, you know what? Everybody keeps on saying that they want me to watch one battle after another. Let me try to watch it. I put on one battle after another. This middle-aged white woman from Atlanta, I could tell she was from Atlanta, walks over to me as the movie is starting and says, you're going to fucking love this movie. 30 minutes later, as I'm cussing at the screen, I'm thinking to myself, this lady is a fucking idiot. And anybody who enjoyed one battle after another, you are an op. If you enjoyed one battle, I don't give a fuck if you're black. If you actually thought one battle after another was a quality movie, you are a fucking op. That's my review of the fucking movie. But Django Pussy's in it. Okay, we all make mistakes. Even Gucci got ugly clothes. What that mean? But we love Tiana. We love Tiana. Tiana's not that movie. Let's see what was going on in Atlanta real quick, guys. This is a video of what the lines look like. Wait time, 142 minutes. And that's hoping niggas show up for work. 142 minutes hoping.
I'm at the Atlanta airport this morning, and it was right. It's so much traffic. TSA, I guess, did not go back to work again today. So
TSA said, fuck y'all. Here's the thing. Because once I recognized that this was all happening because TSA wasn't getting paid, I too am not going to work for free. Everybody who helped me, every single person who helped me, whether it's the wheelchair with my baggage, anything, everybody got a $20 tip. I gave every single person at the Atlanta airport a $20 tip, even though I was heavily inconvenienced, because I understood. right? I understood.
It's so packed, and this is the long line. It's all the way in baggage claim, y'all. Literally. And it's even longer for me. It's crazy, y'all. And my time is 5:47. Okay, my flight leaves at 8:30. So we're gonna see if I make my flight. It's 5:47. I'll keep y'all updated.
Long story short, TSA did not show up to work.
Yes, they got rid of pre-check because one of the things that happens when you are flying and you have a digital pass, you have all these badges on your pass that show you who you are and what your status is, because it is a hierarchy. So when you look at my pass, it says Delta 1, so it's purple. Then it says Sky Priority, which is a little red badge. Then it says Faceless ID, whatever. So it's a little green badge. Then it says like 8 other badges that say she's important. None of that shit mattered. None of it mattered. Not a clear pre-check, Sky Priority, Platinum Plus, Delta 1. None of it fucking mattered. All those lines were closed. It was communism. And I'm Cuban, so I know what communism is.
That's pretty much what the issue is. I'm at the airport, and I've been here for like an hour and a half. Drove from Evans, Georgia, over here to Atlanta Airport, and so we tried to get out there to Auburn, Washington, help a good friend out, but I don't think I'm not gonna make it. Sucks. I took the last little bit of change, kind of scrubbed something together. Was just trying to go out there and help, and from what I understand, the flight, everything is non-refundable.
Now here's the thing that was devastating. This video, this man, and I'm stopping because I hear music in the back and I don't want to have a copyright. And yes, guys, in true Caribbean fashion, I am drinking coconut water out of my Harvard cup because a bitch is dehydrated. Okay, I have not physically recovered. I forgot to mention, guys, when I landed, my bags were not there. My bags got sent to Nashville on my original flight that was delayed for about 12 hours. I got my bag at midnight, 12:01 the very next day. My bag got home the time I would have gotten home had I been on the original flight. That member of the Blue Crew, if you see this, I love you, saved me from another 12-hour layover. But God. But anyways, in this video, this young man was going to fly out of Atlanta to go help a friend. He used the last bit of his money. He bought a non-refundable ticket and went home devastated because he couldn't help his friend. A lot of people were severely inconvenienced and devastated. And what I think I learned from this is, number one, I'm not going to downplay my inconvenience or what I went through or the stress that I was in simply because I had luxury accommodations. Like, I'm still a person. And I think a lot of times you guys dehumanize anybody who's up. It's almost like you have to be down to be a human being. And the minute you're up, people seek to find a way to humble you. So anybody who's like, well, Blue, you had, no, nigga, that shit was a lot. It was stressful. And my hypertension medication, because I've been really stressed lately and I've been working really hard on being zen and whatever, was in my luggage that was in Nashville. So I was also unmedicated the entire time, just raw dogging it and fucking chanting and listening to Buddhist chant music, trying to keep myself calm holistically, right? So Atlanta, respectfully,